In the heart of a big, bustling forest lived a little squirrel named Squeaky. Squeaky wasn't just any squirrel. He wanted to be the perfect squirrel. He truly believed that being perfect meant doing everything right, all the time, without a single mistake. Every morning, Squeaky would wake up before the sun painted the sky pink and gold. He had a very, very long to-do list. First on the list, fluff his tail to the perfect puffiness. Not too flat, not too poofy. He would spend ages in front of a shiny puddle, fluffing and patting until it was just right. Next up, collect exactly 100 acorns before breakfast. Not 99, not 101, exactly 100. He would scurry up and down the tallest oak trees, his little heart pounding, counting each acorn as he dropped it into his knapsack. 1, 2, 3, all the way to 100. If he accidentally picked up a pebble, he'd sigh, empty his entire bag, and start all over again. Then came nut burying practice. Squeaky had a detailed map in his head of the entire forest floor. He was determined to bury his nuts in perfectly straight lines, each hole exactly the same depth. He even made a little digging stick with a mark on it to measure. While his friends, Pip and Poppy, were busy playing tag or telling jokes, Squeaky would be completely focused on his lines. "Squeaky, come play," they'd call out. "Can't," he'd puff, wiping a bead of sweat from his brow. "My lines aren't straight yet." One sunny afternoon, Squeaky decided to build the most perfect nest the forest had ever seen. It had to be cozy, strong, and beautiful. He gathered only the softest moss, the most flexible twigs, and the prettiest, most colorful leaves. He worked for hours and hours, weaving and tucking, making sure every single piece was in its perfect place. The other animals would stop to admire his incredible work. "Well, Squeaky," chirped a little robin, "that's the fanciest nest I've ever seen." Squeaky's chest swelled with pride. It was almost finished. He just needed one more thing, a big, beautiful feather to place right at the very top, like a crown. He spotted one, a magnificent blue jay feather, caught on a high branch. He scampered up the tree, his eyes fixed on his prize. He stretched just a little further. And he had it. It was perfect. But as he turned to scamper back down, his foot slipped on a patch of morning dew. Whoops! Squeaky tumbled down, branch by branch, bonk, boop, bump, until he landed right in the middle of his brand new, perfect nest. Kersplat! The beautiful nest wasn't beautiful anymore. It was a jumbled mess of twigs, moss, and leaves. And the perfect blue jay feather was bent right in the middle. Squeaky looked at the wreckage. His perfect nest was ruined. His perfect feather was bent. His perfect day was destroyed. A big tear rolled down his furry cheek, then another and another. He sat in the middle of his messy nest and cried. All his hard work for nothing. "I'm not a perfect squirrel," he sobbed. "I'm a clumsy, messy failure." Just then, wise old owl, who had been watching from a nearby branch, hooted softly and flew down. He was the oldest and wisest animal in the forest. He looked at Squeaky, then at the messy nest, and then at the bent feather. "What's all this, little one?" he asked in his deep, calm voice. "I tried to be perfect," Squeaky sniffled, holding up the bent feather. "I tried to build a perfect nest, but I fell. I ruined everything. I'm a failure." Wise old owl blinked his big, round eyes. "A failure?" "Squeaky, let me tell you a secret." He pointed a wing at the tallest oak tree. "See that tree? It started as a tiny acorn, just like the ones you collect. Do you think it grew perfectly straight? No, it bent to find the sunlight. Some of its branches were broken by storms, but new ones grew in their place. Its imperfections are what make it strong and beautiful." He then pointed to the river flowing through the forest. "And the river," he continued, "it doesn't flow in a perfectly straight line. It bumps into rocks and has to go around them. It carves its own path. Those bumps and turns are what make the river sing its song. Squeaky looked at the mighty oak tree and listened to the babbling river. He had never thought about it like that before. Perfection isn't about never making mistakes, Squeaky, said they all gently. It's about learning from them. When you fell, did you learn that some branches are slippery in the morning? Squeaky nodded. And now that your nest is messy, you have a chance to build it again. But this time, you can make it even stronger. Mistakes are not failures. They are lessons. They help us grow. Squeaky looked at his paws. He looked at the jumbled nest. He looked at the bent blue jay feather. He took a deep breath. Wise old owl was right. He had been so busy trying to be perfect that he forgot to have fun and to learn. Just then, his friends Pip and Poppy came running over. Squeaky, are you okay? We saw you fall. Poppy said, her whiskers twitching with worrying. I'm okay, Squeaky said, and for the first time that day, he smiled a real, genuine smile. I just messed up my nest. Oh, said Pip, looking at the mess. Well, we can help you fix it. It'll be fun, but... It won't be perfect, Squeaky said, a little hesitantly. Poppy giggled. Who cares about perfect? We'll make it the coziest, strongest, friend-built nest in the whole forest. That's better than perfect, and so they did. Pip brought sturdy twigs, Poppy found the softest patches of moss she could find, and Squeaky, with his new understanding, directed them. They laughed and chatted as they worked. Squeaky showed them how to weave the twigs together, a skill he had learned from his first attempt. They didn't worry about straight lines or perfect patterns. They just worked together. When they were done, the nest wasn't perfectly symmetrical. Some of the leaves were a bit crumpled, and the moss was a little lumpy in places, but it was strong and incredibly cozy. Squeaky took the bent blue jay feather and, instead of putting it on top, he tucked it right above the doorway. It looked like a little, crooked smile. Squeaky looked at his new nest, built with his friends, full of laughter and happy memories. It wasn't the perfect nest he had imagined, but it felt so much more like a home. From that day on, Squeaky was a different squirrel. He still loved to be neat and organized, but he didn't worry about being perfect anymore. He still collected acorns, but if he got 98 or 102, he just shrugged and smiled. He still buried his nuts, but now he did it with Pip and Poppy, and their holes were all over the place, a happy, jumbled map of their friendship. Sometimes he would trip, sometimes he would drop an acorn. Sometimes he would forget where he buried his favorite walnut. And every time he made a mistake, he would remember Wise Old Owl's words, look at the bent feather on his nest, and smile. Because he finally understood that nobody is perfect, and that's perfectly okay. In fact, it's what makes life an adventure. Thanks for watching. Remember to subscribe for more stories.